podcasts have blown up because of the formula of short form media. We sit here for an hour and talk, and then you clip all the most interesting parts, and then you get all these banger clips. I've learned so much in 5 years. I come from no energy. I'm a media guy.
When did you first start creating content?
I've been making content for like 10 years. So like,
wow.
I know everything about like being consistent.
You're hire #1 Digital Wildcatters.
I met Colin like 2018. I was there in the background, like filming these really early events at WeWorks.
Do you have a number on how many episodes you've launched now?
I would say 1,000 something, yeah. Maybe not 2,000, but maybe over 1,000 for sure.
Podcasting is pretty complicated for a beginner. Like, how the fuck do I start a podcast?
Step one.
We've recorded our podcast. The next step is editing and post-production. What's your Hitchhiker's Dummies Guide to editing?
I got the perfect pipeline. This is actual advice.
So when was the last time you did a podcast? You've been doing a lot of Energy 101 recently.
So I brought that back.
Thank you for your service.
It was an awesome concept because it's the only podcast. The podcast is meant to get a wide audience. Everything else we do is super technical. Like random people can't watch our content. It makes no fucking sense.
Yeah.
Energy 101 was the girl sitting down and literally asking like, okay, so you're drilling a well, and then why? What is this? Like, it's literally dumbed down.
Yeah.
I've learned so much in 5 years. I come from no energy. I'm a media guy. So I've learned so much working here for 5 years that I learned a lot. But I'm technically still learning, and I can ask the dumb questions too. But I am able to understand a lot of stuff just from what I've learned. But before that, literally what I just mentioned, the Jeremy Funk thing when he was in town, that was the first time I like made an appearance on our content basically. But now that I live here and I'm always like, I help with like live recordings, whatever, I'm like the Jamie of our stuff. Like I'm actually here to like, I'm referenced in like in post editing or live, like to do something like, hey, Jacob, cue this, whatever, which I love.
You're a new character now.
But now that I'm here, it's like definitely prevalent. And when I moved here, I was like, I'm going to bring back Energy 101. So it's something I planned forever. And now we're like, I got them all booked for like every week and we're pretty ahead. And I want to be consistent because I've been making content for like 10 years. So like, I know everything about like being consistent, not just like having like, oh, it is a good idea. And then like it not happening. Like I've been down the hole so many times. I know exactly how that shit works. So
let's go back. Like, when did you first start creating content?
2015.
2015?
So 10 years.
And like, what was it like back then? There was no AI or anything. Like you had to learn all the softwares from scratch. Like what was your first experience? Like what was that content that you were making in the
I would say the what made it easy was, I guess, two things were happening around that time, which was phones were kind of like clutch, like can kind of do it all in one camera. But what really started it was a GoPro.
Oh, okay.
We had a GoPro Hero 4.
Yeah.
Which was, it's all pretty automatic. You just hit record and you're good to go. There's only so many settings you can tweak. And I would say the same thing for like the iPhones are out at the time, stuff like that. And they're waterproof. You could drop them, shit like that. So, we're jumping on the travel influencer train. And that's what I ended up doing. And so you can go cliff jumping, get into water, skateboard, put it on cars, attach it to things, stuff like that. So that's how I joined in 2015.
Like travel content.
Yep. And then traveling, having like a basic job at a restaurant and then using that money to go travel. Like I got on a plane for the first time basically around that time as well. So.
And when did you start monetizing? Like when did you turn it from a hobby into, okay, I want to start monetizing this new skill of creating content? Like
never really made money off of like posting on Instagram and YouTube. But it was people hiring us, realizing we're like talented in just videography work in general and getting hired to work various gigs. And that's what I made a business out of with two of my partners back in the day. So, and basically that happened 2 years in. So 2017 is when I went not just from traveling and working a job, but making it a career and mixing them all together.
And then a couple of years later, you met Colin?
Yeah, I met Colin about a year in having the business, like 2018, maybe even 2017. Met him right away, and then did various things for him leading up to Digital Wildcatters and Collide.
So you're hire #1 Digital Wildcatters.
Mm-hmm.
It's flex right there.
Do you get a badge? Do you get a special sleeping arrangement? What happens?
Vetted. That works.
Okay, you know what? That's good enough.
Veteran Digital Wildcatters right here. So tell me about the early days of Digital Wildcatters, when you first started creating podcasts and content, you probably recorded and launched like thousands. Do you have a number on how many episodes you've launched now? Probably in the thousands.
I would say 1,000 something. Yeah. Like maybe not 2,000, but maybe over 1,000 for sure. In 2020, it was COVID, and I just moved to Austin to work for kind of like go all in for Capital Factory, which is like a startup place in Austin. And we had previous work with WeWork, who used to be like a huge client of ours. So we're all in that space. We're so used to shooting things for them, their events, whatever the hell they're doing, burning money. And it was really nice because for 3 years, 2017 to 2020, we were hired by so many random things and gigs, events, boring to exciting to travel to whatever. And now we're finally kind of going all in with one client who could probably supply me and my two partners forever with all kinds of gigs under one company. We don't have to worry about like, is this month going to be better than the other, stuff like that. Maybe something a little consistent. But that was March 2020, which is when COVID started. So that kind of fucked up everything. And I just moved into a rental in Austin, and it was crazy. Like I was like, well, it was good while it lasted, I guess. But while we're kind of like living off like the PPP loan and any kind of minimal savings we had, obviously we weren't working. I think some people were still hiring me, like contract work, virtual, whatever. But it was pretty much like surviving off that like government money they gave us here. And a few months in, my two partners, they're like, hey, you remember Colin and Jake? They got a new thing going on, because in the past we'd worked with a few things with them, from like a clothing line to some other like products and like just ventures they tried. And Colin is, he comes from a roughneck background in Midland and stuff. I never knew him as that. I met him at a WeWork, and we shared an office, and I just knew him as an entrepreneur who was attempting and trying things. And it turns out he's like super into energy and oil and gas, and I had no idea. And so I learned what Digital Wildcatters is. They started it. They had a podcast. They're talking about oil and gas and news or whatever. I was like, all right, cool, whatever. I'm just going to work and help them out, and they'll pay me, and that's our exchange, like whatever. And then, that's where we are 5 years down the road, where like, I'm so committed. What we're growing is like amazing and whatever. But back then it was just another gig.
Yeah.
So yeah. What was the question?
Did you think that back then when you first joined that 5 years down the line, you'd be where you are today with like thousands of podcast episodes and like a whole new collide? Like Digital Wildcatters is evolved a long way over that time.
Yeah, it was very, I mean, to me, it looked like they didn't really have a vision of where it was going. And looking back, they actually didn't,
Yeah.
They started the podcast and kind of built around it.
Yeah.
And it kind of naturally took off. And when I say take off, I mean like in the community of like Houston and oil and gas, which is great. It wasn't like viral or anything, but it was a spot that they liked, and they were able to like host events locally, and like people would show up, and it was really cool for them. And I was there in the background, like filming these really early events, and I have footage on hard drives of them at WeWorks, and that story you'll hear a billion times from Colin saying we had pizzas and we forgot plates, so everyone's holding pizzas. Like there's pictures and videos of that, and that's me who took those pictures and videos.
Yeah.
They were shooting the podcast. They were also doing some random stuff like vlogs, and like they were just giving me the footage. I was in Austin and someone was shooting it in Houston. I'm like, okay, I kind of knew who they were, but I'm like, I'm still like, what are they doing now? Like, what is this? And they're like looking at like, they're doing like realtor stuff. They're like buying a boxing gym. They're buying a pump jack up in Oklahoma. Mm-hmm. I'm just like, okay, like whatever. Like I've seen crazier, but it really was so random. It was all energy related, so I guess they were getting to where we are now. But yeah, it was just another gig.
What was your first impression of being told, hey, we're doing oil and gas content, especially since it's notorious, like the industry itself is notorious for being very like old school and not everyone posts about it. What was your impression coming in being like, oh, this is my life now, oil and gas and content, and just convincing people to be comfortable talking to a camera, or at the very least being able to go out on a rig and get content if you're allowed?
Yeah, I actually had a history of shooting with oil and gas. Energy Funders, who's actually based in Houston, they're like some kind of investing oil and gas company where like you invest in them on rigs and then you profit off of like the earnings of the rigs. I think that's a really stupid way to sum up what they do.
Okay.
They're still around. But anyway, they would have us go out to rigs and shoot. So we've been to like South Louisiana, to West Texas, to, you know, everything around like the few basins around here in like the South, basically. And we've been on rigs, steel toe boots, white hats. Like we were wearing this stuff back in 2018 because energy funders hired us. And they're adjacent to Digital Wildcatters, and Colin knows them and vice versa. So like, I quickly learned like everyone's like super connected, and it's like a small world community. Even that it's like one of the biggest industries in the world, just in general. That, yeah, like Houston is connected to Midland and stuff like that. I don't really know anything outside of Texas, Louisiana, but like I learned that all these people know each other. It's like, oh, these people hired me 3 years ago, and they know Colin, and that guy knows Jake, and I'm like, oh, this, you know, it's pretty interesting. But when it came to, you know, doing all this, like I said, we were shooting vlogs and a podcast. I wasn't really thinking of it as oil and gas. I was just thinking of it as more content.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really know if I was thinking like, oh, are people finding this interesting and stuff? I was so early in, I was just looking at it like work, and I was not invested in what they were doing. And I didn't understand that I would be fully hired on, you know. I was technically just contracting and stuff.
I mean, it's cool to see the evolution, and just even seeing your new podcast setup in studio today. And I love what you guys have done with content within oil and gas. And I think like we were talking about earlier, like dumbing stuff down, like Energy 101, it helps to reach that mass audience. And something I want to do is break down, like, podcasting is pretty complicated for a beginner. Like, how the fuck do I start a podcast?
Mm-hmm.
But there's no better person to talk about it than our man Jacob over here. He's launched thousands of podcasts. So let's break down for dummies. I want to go through the whole setup you have here, and let's go down beginner budget, medium, to a more like a higher price point budget. Like how the fuck can I start a podcast?
Yeah. So the first thing you can do if we want to scale it from a price range is your phone, obviously.
Yeah.
So I mean, straight up, if you put your phone on a tripod or literally lean it on something,
mm-hmm.
There's your video.
Yeah.
And if you're close enough and loud enough, then your audio is good.
Simple as that. You have a podcast.
It's actually pretty crazy. The AI tools that are coming out,
mm-hmm.
you know, people have their opinions across the board, but there's a lot of highs and a lot of lows. And one of the highs right now is audio. What AI is doing with audio is amazing.
Yeah.
Audio is very complicated and can be very linear, where like you kind of screw yourself and you cannot fix audio in a way.
Yeah,
and what AI does is AI doesn't fix things, it generates things. So if something's too loud or too quiet or there's too much noise, you can only spin so many dials to like fix it. Like an example is just compared to video, which isn't the most helpful, but I feel like it's easy to imagine. Basically, you're shooting a video and it's super overexposed and like your face is blown out and stuff. You can't fix something like that in video. It's like the information, it did not capture what your actual skin tone looks like, or if the background's just completely white and the trees are blown out, like you can't save that. It's impossible. So the audio is the same way. If you blow out your audio or it's too loud or it sounds like crap, you can only tweak so much. You can't just lower the highlights in a video and then the trees are there all beautiful. No, it's actually ruined. AI will generate the trees. It will generate the sky. It will generate your voice from sounding like shit to going super normal and sounding as if I was here the whole time. And that's super clutch when you're like very budget. And to get specific, Adobe has tools for the audio. And
I've used Adobe Podcast.
Yeah.
Like literally an iPhone quality audio,
mm-hmm.
you can turn it into sounding almost like podcast
worthy. Yeah, it's a tool that you can overuse. They literally have it dumbed down to 2 sliders right now. So it's incredibly user friendly. The first version was literally, there was no adjustment. You dragged a file in, boom, it fixed it.
Yeah.
And right out the gate, it was pretty amazing.
Pretty good.
And now it's a little better, and I use it when I can. I don't have to use it in something like this because I built this from scratch and I have controls over it. But when you're in a tough situation, like just filming on your phone, that's a good step one right there.
Okay, so beginner friendly budget, iPhone. Maybe if you want to get a little bit fancy, you get maybe a Laval mic.
Yeah. So like I would say step one, section B is you set up the phone.
Yep.
Boom.
Yep.
Then you get those lav mics you see every TikToker wear.
Yeah.
So DJI, to get more specific, we're just gonna it's gonna be like an affiliation.
Sponsored episode.
Yeah. So I feel like they're like the AirPods of the lav mics that everyone's having this generation. Actually, no, Rode invented it. They have the square, which looks so fucking stupid because they're like big. I think they're the ones who did it. Rode's a great brand, by the way. So they invented like the big square, and it's on everyone's. And you could see a lot of YouTubers right around COVID wearing these.
Yeah.
And then DJI came out with the little tiny pods, and they're beautiful, and they work so much better, sound better, whatever. And then it's taken off from there. And like Hollyland and basically all the cheap Amazon ones, they came out, and now there's low, mid, and high tier of all of these.
Okay.
And the best part is that the high tier is like one mic is $100. So like we're not talking hundreds, we're not talking 1,000. And you get a couple of those. Go with the super cheap ones that you see like TikTokers holding like this. Uh-huh. They probably cost like $30 a mic. Put one on each person. Point the phone, sync the audio and a video, boom. That is like already better than like half the podcasts that exist right now.
So already about $100, we have a podcast.
Yep.
I have a follow-up question to that. Let's say, for example, I have a phone and AirPods. Could I use an AirPod as a mic, or like the mic that, not the mic, the earphones that have the little, what's it called?
Mm-hmm. The mic on the wire?
I missed that one. Would I be able to film a podcast with just those items if I know the AirPods are not the cheapest thing in the world, but if you already had them, could I use one hypothetically as a mic?
Yeah. I never tried like holding it like a mic because it's like, it has sensors on it and it's smart, like knows what's in your ear and stuff like that. So I'm not really sure. But if you were to like theoretically sit there with the wired headphones, I'd have the mic that like the TikTokers hold up like this. And you're far away from the camera, like maybe you're like on a couch and you built a cute little set in your room, you're far away from there, then that works. But then the wire needs to be connected to the phone. Yeah. And that's where the AirPods maybe make more sense. So, and then if you have multiple people, you'll both need AirPods. So I don't even think you should try that route out.
Okay, never mind. Yeah, I take it back.
I'm like thinking it as I speak. I'm like, no, that's why that's not a thing.
All right, debunked. Don't think that you can be a podcaster with AirPods.
Yeah, so don't do that. First step is to get the cheapest lav mics on Amazon.
Yeah.
And then once they start causing issues, maybe upgrade, or maybe just don't go cheap and go mid-tier or high tier, like the Rode or the DJI right out the gate.
What about lighting?
Lighting. So we kind of got the fancy stuff in here. These are like the mid-tier. It's called GMV. It's like good movie video. I don't know. It has a very generic name. They're on Amazon and like even like B&H, like the higher end stores where like the quality stuff is. But they're out of frame, but they're basically, they look like studio lights. I love them because they look professional, but they're cheaper.
Yeah.
But obviously you go with the big box lights, the Softboxes they're called, and we have them actually hanging in studio too. And that's they come with a tripod pole. You put them on, and then there's one big giant light bulb in there, and it's covered by a soft like sheet, so it's softer on your face. The same way we all have like a soft feel right now, not like highlights on our like forehead and cheeks and stuff. Or the table's not too shiny and stuff like that.
I made the mistake of like looking up and staring right in the light.
I know.
Now I have the
flashbang,
seeing stars.
God forbid you're feeling oily today too. Ugh.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah. Sometimes you get some oily guests, and they get in there.
Is it easy to edit that out?
In a photo, in a video, you shining.
You shining. Okay.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's the whole reason you use softbox and soft lighting and stuff. You make it look like an overcast day. But yeah, those softboxes, like they usually sell for pairs on Amazon, and it's like $60 for two, and like boom, there you go. Front light, back lights, side light. The more surrounding like universal light you have, the better. But if you have the direct light just with one, it's already great.
Or if you're outside, you can just use natural light.
Exactly.
Okay.
And then your phone, if we're still in the phone stage, that's all automatic. You don't have to adjust the lighting and stuff. It's filming, the clouds come, the iPhone adjusts the lighting, automatically. So like it all works out.
Let's talk about cameras. So we talked about like basic video, basic audio, basic lighting. But let's say we want to invest, I don't know, somewhere between like $1,000 to $2,000 on a camera.
Oh yeah.
Or a few cameras. Like, let's talk cameras.
I know right out the gate, it's like people ask for camera recommendations, and I'm like, I don't even think, like when I'm thinking of a cheap camera, I'm thinking like 500 plus.
Yeah.
So if you're thinking like 100, 200, 300, you're like in this paradox where like you might as well shoot on your phone. Like even like I think I have like the latest iPhone, or like second to latest. If you even have like 5 generations ago, like you're so good. Like you're totally
still shooting
fine.
4K.
You can shoot 4K. You can shoot 1080. The 1080 on the iPhone looks good. To get like into the nitty gritty, it actually, like a lot of like cameras and phones and stuff, they shoot 4K or 8K or whatever, and then they scale down, I don't know what the word is, to 1080. So it actually looks better by some kind of weird magic read they're doing there. But that's why like 1080 will look some good on one camera and look really crappy on another camera, because it's doing like some kind of in-body scaling. I don't know.
That makes no sense. It's like, why not just stay with 1080, but that 1080 is going to look like you took it with a potato?
It's a little trick they use to make file sizes smaller while looking amazing at the same time. That's kind of like the era we're in right now. So like these cameras that we're shooting on right now might be shooting 4K scaled down to 1080, and then it comes out as a 1080 file. The file size is smaller and it looks pretty crisp and stuff like that.
Sorcery.
Yeah, we don't have to get in the weeds with that one. But so camera wise, you definitely want to start like 500 to 1,000. You said 1,000, 2,000. That's being nice. Like you could definitely go a little lower than that.
Yeah.
All the cameras we're shooting on right now are definitely on a cheaper side. They are Alpha 6400s. Sony has been killing it recently. They're great beginner cameras. Everyone knows Canon, Nikon, stuff like that. But Sony has really been ruling the era since COVID, basically. So these 6400s cost, they're not even sold new anymore because they've moved up the line so many times. So you get them used online for 500 or less.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And then you get stock lenses, which are like your basic lenses that come with it, which you do not need to worry about when you're at your beginner level.
Yeah.
And they might as well cost like 100 or less.
How important do you think it is to have, like, should I just get 2 cameras or should I invest in like 3 or 4 so I can have, camera on each guest and then like a wide perspective shot?
Yeah. So let's kind of talk about not so much the technical stuff, but like just podcast, go back to really what a podcast is, right?
Yeah.
So a podcast, you listen to a podcast.
Yeah.
And even when you watch a podcast, you're listening. So, I mean, I watch a few podcasts where visually nothing happens. It's people sitting down.
Yeah.
There are some more integrated podcasts, super creative ones where, I mean, maybe just like use like a Twitch stream and to, for example, like there are streamers who do like IRL streams or gaming. Obviously, you want to watch what they're doing.
Yeah.
Or even if they're like covering the news or they're like topical kind of podcasts, they're bringing up the video they're referencing.
Yeah.
Or just like seeing the article or the headline just makes it more engaging.
Yeah.
You want to take a look, or you want to consistently watch. But if you're watching this right now, or at least as far as it's gone so far, we're just kind of talking. We're just sitting here. Like I might pull it up and start doing the dishes or cooking or whatever.
Yeah.
But like, I'm not really going to look over. I'm really just listening. But then like, let's say like I brought up the camera and then like you pop up an image of like Amazon of like showing the camera and the price of it. Then then you want to watch it and like see what's happening. But most podcasts, they don't do that. It's just people sitting around a table, sitting on a couch, and it just switches camera angles, boom, boom, boom. So like, what's more important, the video or the audio, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's why, when you're starting off, don't worry about the video. Like, just make sure you sound good and it's listenable, because most people are going to listen on the audio platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or they're going to watch on YouTube, but put their phone down and just walk around and do shit around their house or go exercise. They're not going to watch if you're just talking about someone's story or advice or the true crime stuff. Like, it's all audio. You're just going to listen anyway.
The only piece is like the repurposing later.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you're going to take that content and then turn it into shorts and all these different things, that's when video comes more into play.
See, you kind of catch me there. You're actually right with that. So you do need at least one camera that looks good. So what I would say is definitely don't worry about the multiple angles, especially if you're one person. You do not need more than one camera. Do not do the I'm sorry, I do not watch Candace Owens, but she does this, and a lot if you don't know that, it is good. Basically, I believe her show, she looks at a camera and then she has a side camera, the 45-degree camera.
Yeah.
And y'all do this.
Yeah, we did.
But y'all have multiple people. But she sits in a room alone and does that. And she cuts.
Oh, I've done that saying alone too.
You did that last episode.
That is so unnecessary. We all do that, and I've done it in the past.
Don't say this. Our producer will stop doing
it. This was my go-to when we used to freelance too back in the day. Is we'd go to like events and have people do like testimonials and stuff, and they would look at the camera, or they would look at someone who's on the side of the camera, so it looks like it is like the interview style or like the documentary style, and then you get the side angle, and so you see it all the time in documentaries and stuff like that. That is a format that people are taking and putting on podcasts, and I don't think it's necessary. It helps and it's nice, but if you're trying to save money and you're like, well, this podcast does this, I have to do it. It's like, no, you need one camera. That's extra. You don't need that. People don't care. They're just copying documentaries, and it's not really like, I don't know if it really matters. Yeah. So you stick with your one camera, you point it at you look at it, boom, there it is. You got to make clips. It's vertical now. You're still there, and now you're spreading your content on multiple platforms and getting more views.
Yeah.
And all through one camera, and just make sure your shit sounds good.
Okay, let's take a step further. Let's get a little bit more advanced now. Like if I have, I don't know, let's say 5K. I want to create like a pretty cool podcast. I want to take it one step further. How can I upgrade from that like beginner status?
The obvious thing you think about is just quality. The video looks better. The audio sounds better. The lighting looks better. I mean, that's pretty much it. I mean, quality can only go so far. Even these cameras, like I said, they're kind of on a cheaper side. It's actually, all of our cameras are compressed because they're going through this device here. It's called the ATEM Mini ISO Pro. I don't know, it's a lot of words. Basically, this is one of the things that you would, when you get more advanced and you run a lot of shows, you invest in, which is, do you want to turn on and off 5 cameras, take out 5 SD cards, put them into 5 things and up, blah, blah, blah? No, you want to click a button and then it all works. And that's exactly what this does. And with this device, the ATEM Mini Pro, I don't even think it's $1,000, and it does all that. And of course, the main reason we have it is to go live, and it's a live switcher. So we have 5 camera angles on right now. And if you're watching this, they're being manually edited because this is pre-recorded. But when it's live, you can hit the buttons and switch. So I'm talking, we're on me, we want to switch wide, boom, it's wide. Bella starts talking, you switch to Bella, whatever. You can do that live with the live switcher. But this device also records everything with one click of a button. So right now we're recording 5 camera angles at the same time. When you drag it into the video editor, they're all going to be the same length, lined up perfectly. And then, and that's a price you want to pay when you film 6-7 podcasts like Collide does, and these like other exclusive events like we're shooting every day, basically. So that's an upgrade you want to do.
Yeah.
But it has to make sense with the amount of production you're doing. If you're still doing 1 episode a week, then just stick to hitting record, I guess, multiple times and use the money elsewhere.
We do not have this set up. Like everything's pretty manual. We just have 2 tripods, lighting, and then
massive screen in the back that we use as a teleprompter.
Well, yeah, that's a different story for solo episodes. But I think having everything set in place and then like making the jump from production to post-production like more seamless is very smart.
Mm-hmm.
We still haven't figured that out yet.
Yeah. Let's stay on this topic. I mean, I mentioned earlier, like a minute ago, that all the videos compressed a little bit.
Yeah.
That's because this device, the upgrade to it that would look better is like, I think it's like a $6,000 machine. So like this one's under $1,000. The one that would make it look less compressed is like $6,000 or even more. Yeah. And you know, this is all put on like YouTube or our own platform Collide. Yeah. And it's small, it's on your phone, it looks fine. Like most people don't even, when I'm saying this looks compressed, they're like, what are you talking about? This looks great. You know, like only someone like me would notice is like how shitty it looks. I think it looks, I hate it. It took me a while to get over it, but I'm happy these days. But that's one thing. A big thing is when it comes to money is having the money to have a permanent set, like you kind of said. Yeah. Like when you have to move your shit all the time, that is so not worth it. We have a dedicated podcast studio. All 5 cameras get to stay here and hang on these poles forever. I don't need to take it off because we have an event to go shoot somewhere else. We have another camera for that. Yeah. And that's a luxury that we pay for. Yeah. All these lights, we need lighting in this room for an event. Like all these like one-off things you might need an extra camera lighting for. Yeah. Yeah. We don't have to move shit in here because we have more lighting. We have more cameras. We have more lenses. We have another one of these ATEM Mini Pros. We have another Mac Mini. Yeah. So paying for duplicates and paying for extra stuff is a value you don't realize. And all that time obviously adds up and kind of sucks.
I think as well, one thing I love about your studio is you have like tons of little like branding elements. And I think that's another piece if you want to take things a step further. Is like, how can you customize your studio to have that like branded touch? So tell us about all these little ornaments that you have floating around.
Yeah. So as important as visuals are or aren't, I was kind of on the side of like, don't worry about it. At a certain point, you want to upgrade, you want to have your own touch, then I say go all out. Yeah. So I wouldn't say like what's going on here is crazy. Everyone's impressed when they walk in here. They love it. I think just I think not everything off behind the scenes is what really makes this room just so cool. From the cameras, the TVs, preview monitors to what everyone else is seeing right now, it all ties together really well, and I love it. If you really pay attention to every little piece of thing, you'd realize it is kind of unique, and it isn't something you're gonna see on Amazon and stuff, and that's by design. Yeah. So I didn't want to, there's oil and gas stuff, there's energy stuff, there's Texas, Houston adjacent things. That's the theme of the room. Someone had describe the room as like Houston chic, basically, like that's kind of the vibe. Yeah. And I really wanted to make sure that everything we got in here was like one of a kind. So most of the stuff in here is from eBay or thrifting or antique stores. And I love that. And even if whether you notice it or you don't, when you come in here and you look at all the things, you just feel like you're surrounded by unique things you've never seen before. And yeah, I mean, you look at the background of most podcasts, including some of the most podcasts that are out there, like Call Her Daddy. Her background is like a bookshelf with books and like fake plants. Like it's so boring and trite and uninspiring, but I guess it kind of shows that like it doesn't really matter, right? No. But I didn't want to go that route. We're a small podcast. We're the community that we have are pretty much the only people that watch, and they're designed that way. They're meant for like the technical professionals in energy space. Yeah. And I still wanted to go out of my way to make it look cool. I didn't want to just put up some shelves and some books and some plants and some LED lights. I wanted to make it unique. So I think it's cool to do that. I don't even recommend it really. Like if you want to keep it simple, you have the biggest podcast in the world. That looks super normal. Like Joe Rogan is like a red carpet and a sign. Like, like it doesn't matter. Don't think about it too much. Just make sure your shit sounds good. Yeah. Audio, that's all that matters.
So fundamentals, like, is the content valuable? Does it sound good?
Exactly.
And then we can add layers of complexity on top, like video, studio. But if we just really want to get started, the fundamental is audio first.
Yeah, I mean that's the motif I'm focusing on. Make sure your podcast is a good idea. Make sure you sound good, and make sure what you're saying is cool and interesting. That's really all it comes down to.
Let's talk about creating like the actual show itself. Like if we figured out, okay, we've got the equipment, whatever budget that is, whether that's beginner or something a little bit more fancy. Okay, we want to start a podcast. Like what's the process? Because you've started tons of shows. What's your process when you're picking a topic and then saying, okay, this is what we're going to focus on?
I mean, my first thought is to create something that isn't out there, right? So it's super easy with Collide because everything is super niche and technical. Yeah. To give some examples, there's a podcast that focuses on energy tech startups. So startups in the energy space, and they have on the founders and they give their whole spiel. And it's, there's so many shows out there that it's like you get the CEO and they tell their story. And how if everyone's doing that or a lot of people are doing that, how do you make it unique? Ours it's energy focus. So we have people coming on talking about these very specific tools using oil and gas, or there's a lot of clean tech stuff from renewables to like we had this really interesting guy, Aaron, on talk about chemistry and these polymers he's using, and it's super technical and random, but it's like it's kind of like the future of this sustainable industry. And it's like it's exactly what I love, which is I don't know anything about chemistry, or I don't want to become one, but the story is just interesting and cool, and it's just fun to listen to instead of like listening to like internet drama or like a Love Island recap series. Bella, not just kidding.
I have never watched Love Island a day in my life. Put that on the record right now.
So it's like, just make it unique basically, and stand out and make it interesting. And my podcast that I do, Energy 101, is meant to hit the wider audience and kind of do the same thing.
Yeah.
I mean, those startup people are coming on and talking about something that's inherently interesting, but it technically is a little too in the weeds with what they're talking about.
Yeah. Yeah.
Something I approach with is having on kind of the same. I could basically get what they have, the people they have on, and have them on my podcast, but then ask like super dumb questions and like be like, what is a polymer? What does that even do?
Yeah.
What is this solving? Like, what is the history of your industry in general? Like, what are you actually doing that's making advancements, whatever? And then it can have them not use the big words, the acronyms, whatever. But I'm thinking all like energy related. Like, if you want more examples of like just in general, we can go there.
I think a big problem with podcasts is most people just don't have the dedication or consistency. Like, they give up too early. So how can I get beyond that like initial, like, I think the hardest first hurdle was like getting past episode 10. Most people don't make it past episode 10. If you make it to 21 episodes, you're in the top 1% of podcasts, according to a Reddit post.
That's true. It's been like that forever. And it's been like that with content, like if you want to make a YouTube channel, we don't have to talk about podcasts, like any YouTube channel where it's like, I want to talk about geography and you want to cover every state and like talk about something about every state. We got 50 states, you got 50 videos. Boom. Okay. What do you do after 50 states? You're screwed. Like, what do you do? Like, you got to think about what you're doing in the long run. You got to think short, medium, long, whatever. So, I mean, I'm doing a series called Energy 101, and I'm taking people from every industry. I'm not talking about like oil and gas. I'm talking about the industry that's in the industry that's in the industry. I basically have infinity ideas, and that's really satisfying.
Yeah.
On the side, I do travel content and I do city guides. There's infinite amount of cities essentially. And then when I run out of cities, I'll cover the city again because it'll be like years later and things will open and become more popular, whatever. So you can really screw yourself with what you're talking about, but you just have to look around and get inspired. Like people manage to talk about the same thing over and over again because it's what their ability is able to do. There's 20 sports shows that talk about soccer around the world that millions of people watch. And every time a game happens, every time a trade happens, they got something to talk about and they will milk that shit for hours. You'll get blown up with notifications on your apps.
Yeah.
And like, it's like you watch and you listen and you don't think about it, but like they're super talented because they're able to really stretch out that. So, and they're able to do that because they're talented. They love it. They're passionate.
Yeah.
Or they have really good writers. I don't know. But it comes down to a very generic motif, which is if you're passionate about it, it's not going to be that hard.
I think all it takes is a little bit of consistency and like dedication to the subject you're talking about. Sorry.
No, I was just going to say, so what are you doing to make sure that the content stays like unique and fresh? Because again, everyone and their mother can be talking about the same topic over and over again until you basically kick the bucket. But what are you doing to make sure that people are like, okay, yes, this is another Collide episode. This is something I want to watch. This is another Energy 101. This is something I want to watch, outside of it being just for the technical content.
It's a formula that you really have to crack. I mean, with Collide, I'm really happy with the content that they come out with. I mean, I'm editing it, but it's the hosts that are engaging and bringing it up and picking these guests to be interesting and get the story out of them. And, I watch a lot of the ones that come out recently and like, they're all pretty cool. Like, I'm like, this is good content. Like,
I mean, I say Collide just because of where we're at, but also this applies to like the travel content that you do and everything outside of that kind of content.
Yeah. If I think about the content I make or I watch, everything. I watch everything from like the super overproduced Mr. Beast style videos to a guy who sits in his chair on a webcam and talks about maps. Like, and so that just proves that it isn't about the quality or the production. It's about the person. It's about their personality. It's about how they break it down and talk about it. You know, there's a million websites and YouTubers and podcasts that talk about music that comes out every week, you know, but which one are you watching? Are you watching someone on YouTube? Are you listening to Dissect on, which I think is a podcast? Or are you reading Pitchfork articles? Like, are you doing all of them? Like, you read or you watch or you listen because of the voice. If the new Kendrick Lamar album comes out, who are you going to first to hear their opinion? Or if, you want to see what to do in Montreal to go out to eat, are you following someone who just posts like cool little flashy reels? Or are you watching like a full produced video like I would do on YouTube? And I mean, there's audiences for all of them, but there's, when you break it down, there's some pretty obvious big boys who run the show. And that's, I would say, just kind of look at what they're doing. You want to see a recap of the latest Manchester City game. Are you going to ESPN? Are you going to The Score? Are you watching something like some couple of guys who sit in their room and like do like their own like
live stream?
They're commentating. Like Pat McAfee, he was famous for being on YouTube and he got bought by ESPN because he was so personable and cool, and he cursed and he was such a bad boy. Like people love that shit. Like, like why are people wearing suits on ESPN and shit? Why aren't you wearing a tank top standing up with a SM7B and yelling curse words? Like you got to adapt and adjust and pay attention to what, unfortunately you got to compare yourself to others.
I think that's one of the coolest things about podcasting is like, we live in a decentralized media world where anyone can pick up a microphone, start a podcast, and with a little bit of consistency over a year, 2 years, suddenly I have this whole like intellectual property sitting as a goldmine. And like you said, guys are getting ESPN deals and taking it to the next level, starting an AI company like Collide. But one step I do want to talk about that is very important is, okay, we've recorded our podcast. We've figured out just video, audio, the basics, but the next step is editing and post-production. What's your hitchhiker's dummies guide to
I got the
editing?
Perfect pipeline.
Okay, and let's go.
Like, this is actual advice.
Okay.
So I've been rambling a lot, but this is actual advice. So pay attention.
Okay.
Okay. Whatever the hell you figure out you want to do, and let's say the final product has to be like a long form video. So it could be like 10 minutes, 20 minutes. I'll use something I do with my kid. He's slacking, but this is what he could do. So he plays basketball and I film his basketball games. I filmed the entire duration of the game. And it's nothing fancy. It's just a tripod and a swivel back and forth. So boom, he has a video, a full game, right? Full game recap. That's a video he can put on his YouTube channel, share with his friends. Obviously, like in context, this isn't something that would hit a wide audience, a 12-year-old playing basketball. But boom, there's your video. Now he can make clips.
Yeah.
So every time, like, what would you make clips out of a basketball game? Like, obviously highlights, right? Like every time he makes a shot or gets a steal or a block. If he's in the game for 10 minutes and he does all these things, he's probably got like 20, 30 things worth posting.
Yeah.
So I mean, imagine this being like something way more interesting than a 12-year-old, but every time he makes a cool shot, a layup, a steal, that's a clip. And so he's got 30 clips right there from one game. And that's the pipeline, essentially. Like, you got big long form video, 30 clips that funnel you into the video, because when you post on like YouTube Shorts or TikToks, people aren't going to your profile and watching them. They're swiping and it comes up.
Yeah.
And podcasts is like, that's why podcasts have blown up. Podcasts have blown up because of the formula of short form media. We sit here for an hour and talk, and then you clip all the most interesting parts. And that's why when you do podcasts, you try to talk in minute intervals and try to not ramble like I am right now. And then you get all these banger clips. And that's a very simple way of a formula.
Yeah. I think even something I do, even when I'm planning out like the outline of the episode, if we're talking about the host, plan for I plan for clips. Like I plan for topics that I know that are going to land as a great clip.
Yeah.
But as like a producer of a podcast, I guess the main part of it is like editing the actual long form episode. And is that something you're going to do, or are you going to outsource that to an editor or an agency?
Yep. So this is when AI sneaks back into our conversation. So if we're following that formula, you can edit however you want. I mean, technically, podcasts are so perfect because we technically have nothing to edit. If there's awkward pauses or you sound dumb and you want to cut that, go ahead. But technically, we can hit record and then stop the recording, and boom, there it is.
Yeah.
For me, I got to sync the audio with the video, so I could do that. But it's really nothing that fancy, and switch the camera angles, and then make some clips out of it. So let's run down like an actual way to do this.
Yeah.
So let's say we have 5 cameras. We hit record, boom, 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 boom. Okay, we're done. We stop. Same thing with the audio. Now we put it on our computer, and then we have all of our videos, all of our audio. You sync them and you cut them. So let's say you just got like a big old bar of media. We do have to switch the camera angles, and this is where I can recommend a tool. It's called AutoPod. And basically, it looks at your waveforms when whoever's talking, and it switches the camera angle for you. So I used to do this. This came out in the middle of me doing this, like in the last 5 years. So my job got super easier because of this tool, and it's incredibly helpful. So if I'm talking right now, I have the camera on me, and then when you start talking, I have to manually cut to you, then manually cut to Bella, and do that for an hour, and then you do 7 podcasts. Like it's a lot, right?
That's crazy.
Now this is a click of a button, go, and then boom, it's done. And they went really viral because they visually show you the cuts when it happens. So you literally see the camera and goes in your timeline, and then boom, done. So now you have an edited podcast. You export it, upload it, there it is. Do an audio file, do a video file, and get a thumbnail. And there you go. Now clips, also such an annoying hassle. You'd have to listen back to your podcast, edit it, find something interesting. Really frustrating when it's not your podcast. You have to listen to someone else's podcast because everyone is narcissistic and loves listening to themselves and stuff. But when you're watching someone talk about like some boring ass wind turbines or geothermal energy, you're like, okay, you don't even know what they're saying. You don't even know what they're saying is actually interesting to their audience, right?
Yeah.
Well, you don't have to worry anymore because there's sites like Opus clips that will make clips for you. And so you
had sent that,
you drop your video into there, or you drop the link that's already online. It scrapes it, boom, 30 clips. You listen to all of them. At least 5 of them are like bangers. 10 of them are usable. And they have captions. They do the whole boom, 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 jump the word thing. And then you post all those. And it goes back to the basketball analogy I had where you're getting so much content, milking it out of one thing you did. You got an hour-long episode. You got 30 clips you can post. And half of that was generated or using tools that sped it up that would have taken like hours just like 10 years ago.
Yeah, I think there's another tool called Descript.
Mm-hmm. They were early on. That's what I was using for the transcribing.
Yeah.
But now with AI, everything transcribes so fast and so accurately.
Yeah. So
like every time I upload something to Dropbox, it transcribes it without me even asking. So
from our Dropbox, because our episodes are like 10 gigs plus, it's too big for it to transcribe. But I think we're shooting at 4K.
Oh, yeah. I think we had that issue too. But I end up transcribing through like Premiere and other things too.
Really quickly to go back to your quote, not your quote, but what you were saying about Opus clips. When I had done my last episode here, I remember getting the link from you guys in an email, and I was like, oh, I've never heard of Opus clips before. It had taken everything from the episode, and then it told me like what the percentage of it hitting would be. Like this one will do 85, like you have 85% chance of this performing well. These are the hashtags that you should be using. These are the clips. And then obviously you can edit it as you go. But AI is getting so wildly helpful because I would have gone through the entire episode myself and I would have clipped it myself and CapCut would have died and so would my laptop and so would I. But I feel like it makes, I don't know, I feel like it just makes your life so much easier.
Yeah, it's making the captions, it's making it vertical. It's not like compressing it where it looks like shit. It actually looks good. It's like a miracle tool. Just like that AutoPod thing I was talking to, that's also a miracle tool. And I would highly recommend it. It has a built-in browser editor, so you can just like make small adjustments on the website. You're not like downloading software. It does rank them, like you said, and that ranking's pretty accurate. I'm typically pulling from the top 15 and not the bottom 15, but sometimes there's just garbage and there's some bangers at the bottom, but it is pretty accurate. And that is the AI doing its job, like knowing what's interesting to humans. It's pretty incredible. And it's always getting better, of course. Like literally by the months, there's like drastic changes.
Oh yeah.
My only caveat to Opus is like we use it to select the clips, but we don't post from Opus, because if you want to have like a bit more branding and added visual touch, like I feel like it's good to establish your like motion identity and have a certain style in your clips if you do want to differentiate. But if you're posting on TikTok, usually it's just like title hook and a clip, and that's fine. But for like Instagram or maybe on LinkedIn, you might need something a little bit more polished.
Yeah, there's all kinds of ways to do it. So what I do right now, I changed it within the last like year, and I actually saw an increase. So this is like, again, pay attention. This is actual advice. So when you post a vertical clip, you definitely need the captions. Like if you're posting clips without the captions bouncing around or doing a letter to highlight, even if it's just like sentence, like more stale,
yeah,
that is helping.
Because people listen without audio.
Opus does the word bounce, like the sing-along, right? The sing that's what it's called. The sing-along shit works, bro. Yeah. And when I see someone talking, like it's like a podcast clip or like someone like talking to me like meant to be scripted and like that, and there's no words, I'm like, I can't hear you, bro. So definitely do the sing-along. And then what I did recently is putting the on-screen caption. It makes it all messy and noisy, but that's kind of what you do, right? Like that's kind of the meta of the internet, is that that's what they call deep frying. Like you make things look shitty or like colored weird or like super sharpened or compressed. It like works in your benefit. It just looks like internet content. You don't want it so polished and shit. So I kind of like how like it runs through Opus and it runs through Premiere, and then like it kind of gets a little baked, and you end up with a clip that's like relatively good. Guy's face is most of the screen. There's a top caption that's like, no way he just said this. And then there's an actual description like on the bottom. If you know anything about Instagram and TikTok, they don't really show you the actual caption. So that's why you put the baked in on screen caption. Then you got the guy talking, and then you got the sing along. So you got like 3 things happening just to hear some guy talk about whatever, but it works. That's definitely the formula that's hot right now and that you should be using. And you just got to adjust to whatever the hell happens next year.
You're editing your clips accordingly as if your audience is someone who is taking a, let's say, 5-minute break, quote unquote, on the toilet, and they can't listen to anything. It's like, what's the quickest thing? And I've noticed a lot of the content that we post that doesn't have captions, you're screwed.
Oh, yeah.
You get under 1,000 impressions if you're lucky. And because no one else is everyone wants to read along. They want to follow along, and it keeps them engaged and it keeps them on the video longer, I feel.
Yeah, it definitely helps. There are a few rules to remember. One rule is that as an artist, this is the most broadest, like making art, making content, whatever. The thing that you think is gonna take off will not take off, and the thing that doesn't take off will absolutely take the fuck off. And if everyone knows that, and if you don't know that, you're welcome. Remember that, study it. It's just the way life is. I've seen it from everything I made for Collide to my own channel, to just everything I've ever made. Things will just absolutely blow up. Hundreds of thousands of views to 5 views on like something that's taken hours. I do have a little conspiracy theory that YouTube knows when you put in high effort and content. So like if you are putting like 100 hours into like this crazy video essay piece, animations, talking points, I have this theory that YouTube does know, and like it watches your video. The algorithm watches your video, and it sees like it sees camera changing and angles and like animations, and it knows that it's like, okay, this guy tried. Let's like not absolutely bury his shit and give him 50 views. That's just a theory I have. But other than that, you can put all the effort in, and it can absolutely bomb and suck. So
you know what? That's a great title. Jacob Stiller, conspiracy theorist? No,
it's a good conspiracy theory.
Yeah, I think the final piece is, okay, we've recorded our podcast, we figured out audio, lighting, and then the editing side. The last thing is like, how the fuck do I post my podcast?
I don't know how to make a podcast go from like 0 to 100 I don't think I've successfully done it. What you have to do is maybe mix it up. Like if you have like a super niche podcast and you're posting once a week, so like I guess step one is be consistent. So a lot of people do like once a week, at least with a podcast. So you have to make sure you're lined up with all your guests, or if you're by yourself or just you and a co-host, you got to make sure that y'all are committed and go, right? So banking episodes, like if you're going to start off, shoot a few and then so you have a head start, but don't bank so many because you might want to make adjustments and stuff. You don't want to be like, oh, for 10 episodes, we had this when we should have changed it. Now you're locked in 10 episodes. So don't do that, but do like 2 or 3 episodes and then try to stay consistent. And then if a year passes, you post 52 videos over a year and you're only getting like 100 views on YouTube, you got to do something different. What I would say if with this example, like literally 52 episodes, 52 weeks, one of those videos have to just naturally get like, let's say like 2,000 views instead of like an average 200 views.
Yeah.
You need to study the fuck out of that video and find out what happened. And this is something you'll hear Mr. Beast and other people say all the time, which is like, you have to take, it sounds obvious, but people don't do it. You have to take what worked and you have to expand on that. So if you go to that episode and you realize you talked about like the latest Love Island episode for 5 minutes, that's why I got bumped. And sorry, you're a Love Island podcast now. I mean, that's the paradox where it's like, well, I don't want to talk about it. I was just bringing it up because my girlfriend showed me, whatever. But it's like, unfortunately, it helped, and you kind of have to like study it and realize like find a way to like adjust and change. Obviously, don't become a Love Island podcast, but maybe like, oh, I talked about something topical. Maybe I should, we're talking about sports history, but maybe we should bring up the most recent game every time and have a little section to make it more interesting and hit a wider audience.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of like a real thing you have to do, unless you really are comfortable with shooting another year, getting 200 views, which, you can love what you do all you want, but it's pretty sad when you're just not getting any views. You'll get a taste of like blowing up a little bit, or getting that comment who's like, oh, I found you because this, and I love it, and they write this paragraph comment and it warms your heart. It's so nice. It's like, damn, I would love to get just a few of these a week. But nope, it's just that one super fan who's kind of clinging on to your very niche podcast, and you just got to find a way to grow a little bit. You don't need to become the next big thing, but it is very fun and very exhilarating to grow and get those views and likes.
Yeah, I don't think you need like thousands of views every week. Like you can have a really niche, like tight-knit community. And then with that consistency over time, that scales. Like just look at what Collide's done with a community, a niche community. Over time, like that has scaled into something pretty big. So I think a lot of it is just staying consistent, keep posting, get past that 1 year mark, and then
your basics like titles and thumbnails. Unfortunately, those are a big deal. You need to find a format. Yeah. Again, compare yourself to others. Yeah. Some of the biggest podcasts out there, their thumbnails. If you learn basic Photoshop and understand what their thumbnails are doing, there's not a lot going on in some of these thumbnails. No. Some of them don't even cut out the people. It's like the background is there and they just split it in half. I think like the Joe Rogan highlights channel everyone copied it. Yeah. And what it is, I don't know if it's still like this, but it's like half of Joe Rogan or the guest, and then like the green box with like whatever they're talking about. And it's like a random image. So it's like, if it's like Joe Rogan and a guest, there'll be 50-50 with the background and everything. And then the green box in the middle of like a picture from Google of Elon Musk. And that's like a highlight clip that has like 5 million views. And it's literally just both camera angles and then a green box with a Google image. And that's what they do with all their highlights, and it works. So go look at other YouTube channels. Some of them are going to be pretty intricate and like crazy, and they're going to do A/B testing, which is like when they compare the thumbnails and see which one performs the best. Some people just are like, screw it, and they post whatever. Like famously, Jenna Marbles was this vlogger girl. Her thumbnails was a screen grab from the video. She did not make thumbnails, like, and she quit kind of in this era, but she got into this era like right before COVID, before she quit, and she was still doing that. And right now, there's that gamer Charlie, Penguin Zero or Moist Critical. Yeah, hit all of his thumbnails are from the video, and it's like a Google image, and it stretches to it's always like a square image that stretches to like 16:9. It's literally like meme content. But he I saw him on a podcast be like, I just don't care. or the way he talks. I just don't care. It's like weird deep voice. And he's like one of the biggest YouTubers ever. And he just sits there and he talks about nothing. And like, I don't know. So it's, moral of the story, be passionate, try, be consistent, and unfortunately copy others and adjust and then break off into your own. This is a game where you copy others.
Steal like an artist. There you go. That sounds better than copy.
Yep. That's what I did.
Yeah. Well, cool. I think we spit a lot of free game. There's definitely a lot of brands that should be paying for all these affiliate links. So we'll start pitching all of these this free marketing that we've been doing.
A lot of them don't even have competition, so it's kind of a monopoly anyway.
Yeah.
I might have some hot shot questions for you after.
Mm-hmm. You want to do a hot shot final question?
Are you ready? Who are your top 3 podcasters?
So my favorite normie podcast is Dak Shepard's podcast. He's been doing that shit forever. And he really just is a guy who has on guests and just talks about whatever. Like he has like on celebrities or experts and like the super niche fields, or he has like celebrities that everyone knows, from like the most famous to like up and coming people. And I don't know, that's one of those things where it's like, I don't know what it is. Like, I don't know what he's doing. He's just sitting there talking and it's his personality. And I love it. You know, it's just a good guy who knows what the hell he's doing and knows how to ask the right questions and get something that's more interesting out of like these huge celebrities or whatever. And, you know, it isn't like I'm watching like a late night show or whatever, you know, it's just something about it. So that's like my normie one. A lot of people know the name or would recognize the show art or whatever. I'm really big into internet culture. There's a lot of podcasts I watch, or I used to watch, that they talk about like the internet drama, or they talk about just the most random shit. Like it's really like the brain rot for podcasts. And I hate admitting this, but I'm a big H3 fan. And they've been doing a podcast for like since 2017. And they used to have on YouTubers. It was really cool because they came off being like a channel to podcasting. And they would have on these, like, they can get basically any YouTuber they wanted. And then you'd get like the cool interview of the podcast or of the famous YouTuber and learn about their story. And that was kind of it. And then they transitioned in these last like 8 years into like being a show with like a whole cast and everything, which basically turned into like Howard Stern. And it's like our generation's Howard Stern, where it doesn't really matter what the guest is. There's so many characters that are part of the show and a crew that it's like, they don't have guests on it anymore. They have like 10 people behind the scenes and they all have personalities and everyone knows them. And this goes back to Pat McAfee. He's the same way. Him and all of his goons are just there talking about sports, and like they'll have on like actual athletes and actual coaches, but people watch because they like the guy who's behind the window doing the audio, or they have some guy who like is there, but all he knows is like lacrosse and he doesn't even know about football. And like, there's literally like 10 of them, and you get to like know the people behind the scenes. And I love shit like that. I love when I'm back behind there and we do a live and they're like, hey, Jacob, you know, what did you say about this? Or can you pull up this? Like, I love like the production being part of a show. Yeah. I love that. If you could pull that off, do it. It's amazing.
Who's your third one?
A third one, something energy related, just it comes to mind, is Climate Town. So even though I work for an energy company that's really oil and gas, I am very progressive and sustainable. What's the word? Like I'm like a hippie basically. Like I brush my teeth with like tooth tablets and I recycle everything in my house, and I have reusable grocery bags, and like I do a lot of shit that literally does nothing to help the planet, but I just do it out of practice.
It feels good for you.
Yeah, I'm not a liberal idiot, but I have learned to balance as I've become educated in oil and gas and all from the bad to the ugly to the clean, polished shit that you learn actually isn't that clean and polished, and you know, vice versa. So I've just become in love with energy in general, and with energy comes pretty much any sector of life, and it really is everything, and it's so interesting, and that's why it was so easy to like get into Collide and like just I don't know, I just love this shit. And what this channel does is they do talk about everything sustainable, and they do shit on the oil and gas industry, and I learn a lot about the bad side of it. But then I come here, then I learn like the talking points to basically negate that. And it's political. It goes back and forth. No one's right. Wind turbines aren't miracle devices. And then natural gas isn't like beautiful natural infinity gas. Like it's
so for lack of better words, you swing both ways.
Yeah, I'm bi energy.
Bi energy.
Anyway, specifically about the podcast, it's curated in a way. And it really has their talking points down, and it's really digestible. I actually think it's scripted in a way. Like I think they heavily like focus and study their subject, their topics, and then they talk about it in a podcast format. And I think that's really smart. And that might be something I might have missed out on, is like the fake podcast movement that's happening, where you curate very heavily what you're doing, and then you sit down and you go and you pretend like it's casual, and then you really you can talk in 1 minute clips, and you can really pump shit out like that. That's a little cheat code right there.
a little.
And they're doing it in a very high advanced way with the subject that I'm interested in. So there's my little spread of 3 shows.
Okay, beautiful.
That's the most interesting mix I've ever heard of.
I wanted to make it diverse.
This one, I feel like you could probably split this into a clip and then send this as like an etiquette rule to anyone who comes on.
Uh-oh.
What are your guest piss-offs?
Ooh, yeah, that's pretty obvious. Okay, so when you're on a podcast, you don't say a lot. Who's a famous person who does it? There's Anthony Padilla. He's one of the Smosh guys. He has a podcast that's really popular with like younger kids, younger than us, and he goes and he does it now, and he did it 5 years ago. Like he's aware he does it, and I guess he doesn't give a fuck. But don't.
Well, I mean, it's Anthony. It's Smosh.
Yeah, don't do that. It is so annoying.
It's the editor's worst nightmare.
It's not. Well, yeah. First off, it's annoying to listen to while you edit, but the people complain. Like if you're able to go to comments, like you can't. There's no comments on Spotify, or did they add that? Like you go to any host that does that, their comments will always say shit like, "Bro, you gotta stop saying or yeah," or And it isn't just the it's the yeah, okay, yeah. You're like you have to remember when you're on camera, when you're on a mic, you're not actually not yourself. You have to act. So when something you learn in podcasting is that you don't, when you agree or like you want to let people know you're listening. So you're like, oh yeah, totally, yeah. You can't fucking do that when there's a mic 5 centimeters away from your mouth. You have to nod. You have to learn to just nod, and it feels weird. It is not natural, but it's what you do. And anyone who podcasts knows that you just do that. I've let out a few and yeahs this episode, but like I'm talking like hundreds. People will do it. So don't do that. I guess. Mic etiquette is obvious. Like if someone was sitting next to me, you don't talk to them like this. You orbit.
Yeah.
And talk to them. So I'll go, oh, hey, Bella, what did you say? Instead of like this, then you're...
Tell me everything.
The mic's right here. I've been paying attention to Bella, and she's been doing really good at that.
Thank you very much.
Those are like so basic. Like don't do the stuttering, the like verbal agreements, and remember that a mic needs to be pointed at your mouth. What are some niche ones? I don't know. I can't think on the top of my head, but
that's fair.
That's a starting ground right there.
2 last questions, and then I'm done. You're both the producer and the host. Which one do you like the most?
Producing. I brought back Energy 101 because it's a good formula for content. All of our podcasts and shows are super technical, and they're not going to hit the go into the thousands of views unless it's like a super one-off. Energy 101, where you try to make it as approachable as possible and get the wider audience, is a formula to get growth as the funnel into our product and to our community. We're scaring a hose. Like we are so technical and niche that by design we don't even want a wide audience. But I don't want people to. We covered Landman, the TV series, on Chuck's podcast, and the first episode has 100,000 views on YouTube. A lot of people did watch that show because it's about oil and gas, and they maybe live in Texas and are want to relate. But it's a huge show on a huge network. It has millions of people watching who do not give a shit about energy, oppose oil and gas, and so on. They're watching because it's Billy Bob Thornton and just like big actors, and it's a whole show, and it's by that guy Sheridan who did Yellowstone, and they want to watch his new show. Those people are going to watch and then see, oh wow, there's a actual landman reacting to landman. That's interesting. Like inherently, they watch that. Then it's like, oh, they're promoting their software or their community called Collide, where energy professionals go on, and they're all like roughnecks, and they work in the industry, and they're engineers. That's when the line stops. This is just some soccer mom who's watching the show, wanted to see some landmen react, and it ends there. We don't want her or need her in our community. So it's kind of like a double-edged sword, where it's like, we want to get as many people in as possible. We want to have monthly active users to get that number up, but there's a limit, essentially. Like, it's a community for these professionals. Like, if you have if we had Collide, but for doctors, which is a thing, by the way, where like doctors and nurses from all around the world are in a community, you know, we're not going to have some like car repair guy in there. Like, what the hell is he doing in there? Like, it's not meant for you. But they're at the end of the day, there are millions of doctors and nurses, so you can grow a huge community. So, I mean, the goal is to get essentially, I guess, every oil and gas and energy professional ever in the world on our website. That's only like millions of people, not billions, trillions. So there's a threshold, and we're just trying to hit them and
it's all
get in their face.
It's all the back end. It's all essentially it's the production part of it. It's getting people to the shop, let's say. Is that where you feel the most comfortable?
Hosting?
Between producing and hosting, you said that you enjoy producing the most. Bringing people here, obviously, in order to get them here, you have to be able to produce something worth watching. So that's what I'm deducing.
I do love producing the most. I've been doing it for 10 years, and I'm not sick of it. That's how I know I love it and stuff. But it is fun taking the opportunity to bring back this podcast, to get in the wide audience to our community as we can. And I'm just like single-handedly helping out by doing that. But, you know, it's so fun going back in my hole and editing all this stuff.
Hello, Jacob in the hole later on today. Last question, then I'll let you finish off. What the heck are those little yellow things on your cameras?
Those are construction flags that I thought would be a good idea to hang so people don't hit their head on our cameras.
We thought it was super technical. It was like, do you pull? Maybe it does something. Maybe it's like eye line.
Why don't you get up and smack your head on one of these cameras and see what it feels like?
That's a good litmus test.
Yeah, no, I hit my head on these cameras a lot, and it sucks. So when we're building a studio, someone had the idea. It's like, we have like these girders and stuff hanging. Like, let's hang the cameras because the tripods take up so much room. And I'm like, I've never seen that before. I don't think people do that. And I'm so like people don't do that, so I won't do it. Like, I'm such a follower sometimes, and I'm just like, they're like, and I'm like, wait, there's like C-stand poles, which are like these big, like these are like industry standards. Like all the lights that you see on Hollywood sets, they use these exact poles, and they can hold up so much weight and everything. And I'm like, okay, well, I can hang a camera. Oh, and then I could put like a little tripod end, and then I can turn it whichever direction. I was like, oh shit, this is actually a thing you can do. And then I was like, you know, maybe like you tap it and it wiggles and it never stops, and then it stops. So like it wiggles for like a second, and if you hold it still, it will literally stop. And I'm like, there's like no downside to this. And here we are like 3 months later, and I have never seen anyone do this before. Like hang cameras from a C-stand pole. Like people have like top-down cameras that look down to like do things on our table, but like literally like instead of tripod from the ground, tripod from the ceiling is what we're doing, and it works. And people should copy it because it looks cool and it's better. And like the whole reason we did it, there's room. And then hang little flags on it so you don't hit your head on these black cameras that blend in with the black walls because it hurts like a bitch.
That's so considerate of you. Thank you.
Right. That's right.
All right, last off, we'll drop all the affiliate links in the comments. We'll try and find our commission. Mm-hmm. Where can people find more about like Energy 101 and about the man, the myth, the podcast, Sensei, Jacob?
That's right. So we have all of our podcasts under our umbrella on audio still, but then we now put everything behind on Collide video-wise because we don't want to give away that good old technical energy info.
So you got to sign up for Collide.
That's right. I love it. I love the platform we have because it you can send someone a link and then you can play it. You don't have to sign up or anything. You can watch the video without signing in. But we did leave a couple of podcasts on YouTube, like the Energy 101, because there's no technical information there. It is dumbed down. It's everyone who's on our community knows what we're saying and can predict what we're saying. It's meant for the wide audience. So we put it on YouTube to funnel into people into the next level of our energy cult. And then what's the other podcast we put up there?
BDE?
Yeah, BDE, which is our topical show. So you're getting like current news, and you have people like Chuck and Mark who really know what they're talking about. Less of Chuck. And then sometimes a guest, sometimes their third partner who is virtual. And they'll talk about something very topical, like to the point where like you can't even watch an episode that came out a few weeks ago. It's like so moot and like over that it's moved on. So that's all we post on YouTube because of those reasons. Everything else that you may not want to see that because it's on Collide, it's technical anyway. So if you don't want to hear technical jargon and all that crap, then
we don't
fine.
Want you.
You know, we don't want you there.
We don't want you anyway.
So yeah, Energy 101's great. My motif thesis is like this. You should be able to show your grandma this. You know, it's kind of a dumb example because it's like, well, grandma has to watch for an hour. Like, is anyone who wants to learn about something in an hour and not like a bite size, show them an episode of Energy 101. It's literally going to be like, you hear about geothermal. It's like, we'll have Geothermal 101. You want to know what a wireline does on a site? Wireline 101. And then things like that. We're getting into like tech and AI and stuff. I had John literally describe LLMs. You know, it's like, where the hell did ChatGPT come from? Why is there 4, now 5? What is their competitors like Claude? Like all of that is explained in like 45 minutes. Everything you need to know, the history, the present, the future. John knows what he's talking about. We asked the dumb questions that you would have asked anyway. And like, I love that content should exist online, you know, and I feel like we're doing it really well.
I think it's a great format, but yeah, appreciate all the free game. And yeah, I hope we get paid out for all this value that we've just dropped.
I'm just glad I out-yapped Bella here, the yapper. So
yeah, this was a yappathon, I tell you.
Man, I can yap.
I mean, listen, we've done what, an hour, almost 20 now. Next step, 24 hours. We need to plan a 24-hour yapathon. I think that's, at first it was a joke. When you asked if we were coming, I'm like, yeah, 24-hour yapathon, let's do it. But I think now we've set our minds on it. And I think we have no choice. And these chairs are pretty comfy. I could sit here for 24 hours.
I can yap forever. I haven't even talked about myself in a way you couldn't even imagine. And, you know, we got the TV, we could do visual things. We can for sure do 24 hours. And these cameras, this whole system, we've already run a 12-hour, the
live 11-hour 56 minutes.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you're bothered that they didn't go like 5 more seconds to hit that 12-hour mark.
12. At this point, you're already there.
So I think technically, I know we can at least go 12 hours without like shit exploding.
Okay.
And it's live. So if something blows up like one of the cameras, then it's live and it's already there. So we don't have to worry about it being lost.
I'm down. I mean, listen, if there's anyone who thinks that we should do a 24-hour yapathon, speak now or forever hold your peace. Otherwise, there's no stopping us.
Guaranteed 20 views.
And 10 of them are from me. Just because I want to hear myself yap. That's all.
Yep.
Over 12 hours.
All right, this is just the warm-up. 24-hour yapathon coming next.
Will you be able to handle it?
I might check out midway and I'll come back and you guys can stay up.
I'll handle it.
Yeah. All right. Cool.